My name's Lara, Sowinski, Group Editor for the CropLife Media Group and co-chair of Tech Hub Live. I have Adam Kiel as my guest this afternoon. Our Fireside Chat's kicking off. Adam is the Managing Director for the Soil and Water Outcomes Fund. We're going to have a little chat about sustainability and stuff. Just want to thank you guys again for hanging out. If you don't have a fine cigar and some brandy, well, maybe a coffee will you get nice and cozy by our fire. So welcome, Adam. Nice to see you. So, kind of what you're doing, and I appreciated when we were prepping for this afternoon's chat. Prior to coming to Meister Media, I was doing a little more food supply chain and stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of jump in. We only have 10 minutes to talk about something that's clearly a big topic in a lot of ways. And so tell us a little bit what you're doing, and then likewise, we're talking about food and beverage sector, sustainability, a lot to pack in, but just give us the high-level stuff, and then we'll just kind of drill down from there.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, thanks for the opportunity first to be here. What we do at the Soil and Water Outcomes Fund is connect farmers with largely global food and beverage companies, also some consumer-facing retail companies who have set sustainability goals for their products. We help farmers then improve their production systems so they can meet the sustainability metrics of those end users of the corn, soybeans, wheat, sugar beets, whatever it is that's being produced. And that could be related to a climate goal that a company has set, or a water quality goal, or a regen ag goal in general. So that's what we do, is help those farmers and make that transition. We do provide financial support to those farmers to make that transition, but that involves a lot of data capture, field boundaries, operational data, both historical and future, to help quantify what those benefits are and relate those outcomes to our customers, the food and beverage companies largely.
Mm-hmm. I recall when we were talking, I think one of the questions I asked you, the current climate and all that would characterize that. Has that had any bearing on the Diageos, the food and beverage folks, the global folks that are involved in these programs or funding it?
Yeah, so I see a couple different things emerging in the space. Let's kind of unpack it a little bit. So first is kind of changing dynamics with where the public sector sits, and by public sector I mean USDA and where kind of they're at with climate focus. That has definitely changed over the past 6 months or so. But what has not changed is the private sector support. That's largely continued in supporting us and ultimately supporting farmers. So I don't see too much changing there. In fact, this year we're seeing increased growth with our private sector partners in terms of their desire to support farmers. Excellent. And meet those sustainability goals. So I think we're seeing, it's just kind of shifting of who pays for what, if you will, and seeing those private sector partners step up maybe more than they have in the past, and maybe the government's taking a step back when it comes to climate-specific funding for this kind of work.
I think the other thing, and again, this is a topic that really truly is near and dear to my heart. I remember when the Food Safety Mod Act came along, and understandably a sizable change, FDA's rules and regs regarding food safety, and suppliers all along the food supply chain, from the growers all the way to the retailers, the grocery store, consumers. So, and that was 2011 when FSMA came into effect. And I think about how quickly ag tech has changed even in the last 12, 18 months. What and how and where are you seeing some of the biggest impacts from technology with what you're doing and who you're working with?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, a big part of our day-to-day is understanding what farmers do in each field, historically, and what they are going to do in the near future. And that's every pass, every rate, every gate, every product. And what I see is that's a big challenge still today.
Yeah, for sure.
And a farmer being able to have that at their fingertips we're not there yet, but we're making progress. And I think some of the biggest things that we're seeing is the ability to connect to different systems to get that information while still understanding there's a long way to go. Right. And if we want to be able to accurately convey to our partners what are the emissions from a cornfield in a given year, we need to understand all of those data points that influence emissions. And gathering that from farmers is no easy task. But again, the improvements that we see in platforms and systems and the automated collection and transferability of that data is greatly improving our ability to have those conversations with farmers.
The other question that I had, and I think when I presented this to you, you kind of corrected me about carbon sequestration versus emissions. And I wanted to kind of go down that path a little bit. That was a good thing to learn and call out.
Yeah, so one thing, you hear the term the Wild West when it talks about carbon markets and programs a lot, right? And it's kind of warranted because there's not any set guidelines that we in the space follow. So we're kind of making it up as we go, if you will. One thing that's important to understand is that farmers are really good at changing their management practices, say moving to a reduced till or a no-till or adding cover crops. Those things pull carbon from the atmosphere and store it in the soil. And that's great. We need that. However, that type of carbon storage is risky long term. It doesn't have the permanence factor that maybe some other carbon storage techniques do. So as a result, we're seeing maybe a trend towards valuing sequestration less than what a company would value a pure emission reduction. And to counter sequestration against emission reduction is using less fuel, using less product, emitting less. You can't undo that. So it doesn't have the same reversal risk or permanence risk that sequestration does.
Yeah.
And what we see is those two things are being valued differently. We want more emission reductions. We need sequestration, but we're acknowledging there's risks associated with that pathway as well.
Very good. For the last, I guess we have a couple more minutes. I guess the final thing I wanted to ask you, we started off talking about the willingness and the participation of the, food and beverage companies themselves. As far as like the farmers, where it all begins, what's their appetite these days and willingness to participate, contribute, so on?
Yeah, so I can only speak for ourselves, but we have more farmers interested in participating than we have capacity for. Last year we enrolled 1.2 million acres of farmland in about 20 U.S. states. That met our demand from our customers last year for emission reductions and sequestration. This year we'll see some growth, but I anticipate we'll still have farmer interest that exceeds that. There's a couple of factors that come into play. One, I think, is just the ag economy.
Yeah.
I think farmers are looking for every revenue stream they can get. Ours is a potential new revenue stream that they're not used to having. Another is, farmers are always looking at ways to be more efficient. So if you can, reduce or become more efficient with your inputs, that's going to have an emission benefits for us that we can value and quantify and reward that farmer for those emissions at the same time. So I think those couple things in combination, we're seeing good growth. And I think we'll continue to see growth probably until 2030, which will be kind of a really important year for us and the sustainability world in general, when a lot of these corporate goals are set to come due, right? They set 2030 goals or 2050 goals, and we'll see what kind of progress they're making when we get to 2030.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for the good work that you do, and it was nice meeting you. Thanks for dropping in and hanging out by the fire.
Yeah, thank you.